Dominaria pre-release. I'm excited. Let's get into it. You're getting ready for that pre-release. You probably stopped here just because you want to know, what do I need to know for the pre-release? Let's get into it. The first thing is probably card layouts. I think the most important one to keep your eye out for are the legendaries. Get a look at this fancy schmancy card border. See, now we got rid of that, like, what am I doing with my life? I have no direction, just boring straight line. Nope, put a crown on top of it. Now you know it's a legendary card. Every booster pack will have one legendary card in it. It's not going to be like Shadows over Innistrad where you had your rare and then behind the rare was the new flip card. Wizards has apparently changed that paradigm and has now been able to revolutionize the printing, sorting, shifting of cards. Could be at the uncommon or at the rare mythic spot. That's impressive. Cool. Well done. There are 60 legendary cards. Of these 60 legendary, there are 13 mythic, 25 rares, 22 uncommons. 40 of those 60 are a single colored card. 20 of the 60 are multicolored legendary cards. Every color has at least one single colored mythic, one single colored rare, and one single colored uncommon. Gonna make it for some interesting decks, tell you what. Now the per color breakout, if there's a multicolored and it hits like blue and white, I count it in both the blue and white numbers, so just keep your mind on that. But to break it out by color as well, we have 7 artifacts that are legendary, 4 green, as well as 7 multicolored cards that include green, 6 red, as well as 8 multicolored, 7 blue, as well as 8 multicolored, 8 black, as well as 8 multicolored, and 9 white, as well as 8 multicolored cards. So with that said, white is the most likely color that you're going to find some sort of legendary permanence with, in that there are 17 potential cards that utilize white. Black is second with 16, blue is third with 15. Not that any of that matters, because it's 100% dependent on the cards you pull. So best of luck with you and your packs. Here's to you having some strong cards. Something else to keep in mind, only 19 of the multicolored legendaries are available in pre-release kits, because the buy a box promo is only when you buy a box, and you can't do a pre-release with a full booster box. Although that would be interesting. That's more of like a pay-to-win type of thing. Not important. So let's just keep moving right along. The next thing to keep in mind for is that you got these new fancy cards, Sagas. Check these things out. These cards are actually pretty similar to if you played, what was it, Unstable with the Sprocket cards. There's some similarities here. For this example, the turn you play it, you get a knight. Turn 2, after I draw, out comes knight number 2. Turn 3, draw phase, and then I pump all my knights and it gets sacrificed. Which could be, I mean, this card could be a big bomb on turn 5, assuming you get it out turn 3. Now granted, your opponent knows about it, but these cards seem quite efficient. We'll see how they do. They look interesting. I actually really like the card layout. I think the card layout looks pretty sweet. Definitely hoping I can get a good 1 or 2 to play in a pre-release. Sagas are important because they also bring up the point of historic, which is this new classification or grouping from Wizards, which includes any legendary card, artifact card, or saga. Those 3 subtypes of cards are now considered or grouped to also be historic. Here's an example. This is Curator's Ward. Now you can enchant any permanent with it. It gives it hexproof, but when that card leaves the battlefield, if it was historic, you now get to draw 2 cards. It doesn't mean if it was destroyed, whatever. If it leaves the battlefield in any way, you get to draw 2 cards, and you can see that it outlines artifact, legendary, and sagas. Just something to keep in mind, you could play this on your opponent's saga, and then when they have to sacrifice it, turn 3, maybe it's going to draw you the option to respond to whatever bomb or big effect that saga has. Hopefully we're all good on historic. There's also some interesting prerequisites that are now being checked for with certain cards. And what I mean by that is you'll notice we now have 5 legendary sorceries, which you cannot cast unless you control a legendary creature or planeswalker. And yes, the art on each one of these is epic. And you might notice that Noah Bradley did the art for all of them. Noah, you and I should be friends. I mean, phenomenal work, man. Really. Well done. Something else to keep in mind, though, another bonus, is that in these pre-release kits, we're getting 2 foils. We get the premium date-stamped rare mythic card, as well as a date-stamped foil legendary card. The legendary card could be uncommon, rare, or mythic. There's no guarantee on rarity for those, but I think it's pretty awesome to now get 2 foils in a pre-release kit. I don't know if this is going to be a precedent-setting set in the sense that now a lot of sets here on out are going to have a new mechanic that you need to basically have the ability to activate, thus requiring a second foil. I don't know, but I think that's a pretty cool thing to do. It also means that there's the opportunity for someone to probably get 2 or 3 of the same awesome legendary card. I mean, who is ready to just be stomped into the ground by someone who has 3 of these bad boys? Hooray! I'm going to get eaten alive by the almighty Yargle. Okay, so we're good on the numbers that are out there. White's probably the most common, black's the second most common, blue is the third most common, legendary including color. Every pack we get is going to contain a legendary card. We have cards to look out for like Sagas, and your pre-release kit's going to come with 2 foils. But what do we do once we actually get into it and we start sorting our cards? I mean, the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is just open up those packs as quickly as possible and sort by color. And if you feel confident in this, pull out the bombs. Pull out those cards that if you can play them, you're probably going to be able to pull out a win. Then what you want to do is just find the 2 colors, generally speaking, the 2 colors that are going to give you the best mana curve, that are going to give you the best access to bombs, the best access to removal and creatures that'll let you curve out, that'll let you put pressure on your opponent. That's what you're trying to find as quickly as possible. Then once you get your 2 colors, you figure out, is it worth splashing? Do you need to splash? Do you need to splash, say, white or red for some removal or black for some removal? Do you need to splash in some blue for some control? That's always up to you. Totally depends on the cards you have and what colors you did decide on, that, you know, what they offer. Getting your card pool sorted and cut down to the 2 colors you can focus on will make sure that you then have time to make sure whatever deck you put together ends up being as efficient as possible. And remember, in any limited format, you usually want to go with the rule of thumb of 23 spells, 17 lands. So 23 spells would include 15 to 18 creatures, give or take. 17 lands, you could do 16 if you feel like it's a really aggressive, low mana curve deck. Again, I'll leave that up to you, but 23 and 17, that's the division I've always gone with. Also, if you're going to be playing 2-headed giant, there's a couple cards I want to point out that I'm excited and hoping I can pull that will work in a deck. One is Demonic Vigor, because this card I could put on my teammates' creatures, like their bombs, to protect them from whatever removal our opponent may try and throw at them. I think that's pretty sweet. And then we have Cabal Paladin, which now every time we cast a historic spell, they're taking 4 damage. It's going to have to be dealt with pretty quickly, or they're probably going to be taking a fair bit of damage. Not too shabby. I know I've said it already a couple times, but you don't go in with some pre-planned, here's the deck I'm going to build, because you might not pull the cards that make that deck work. But here's 2 ideas that I'm hoping I get a chance to pull off. One of them would have to be green-black Saproling. I mean, you get Slimefoot, look at this dude. You get this guy, you're going to be a happy camper, especially if you can pair him with this card. You're going to get card draw off it. You got this guy that'll pump them all up. You got this guy that'll give you a small little army at instant speed. The Saprolings seem like they could have a pretty cool little tribe going in this set. Green also has so much ramp. So you could look at, I think this is probably the best turn 2 you could hope to have in this tournament in a pre-release. Turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Steel Leaf Champion, which cannot be chump blocked. There's a problem. Turn 2, if you get that thing out, crazy. Or you could ramp into King of the Jungle right here, and yeah, you're reading that right, attack for 20 damage with 1 creature. Throw some Sarah's Angel's Wings on him. GG. I think it's fair to say green looks pretty strong. Another potential one I see is red-blue, because this set seems to actually have a lot of the MO that red likes to live up to, of just fast, aggressive, in your face, you better have an answer or else you're taking a lot of damage type of cards. They also have some pretty efficient cards if you're playing the wizard tribe, like basically a lightning bolt. Or there's a card that if you kick it, it deals 10 damage as you see fit. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. And then if we get into blue, we have a legitimate old school counterspell if you're playing wizards. It has phenomenal looking artwork. I mean, look at this. That is a good looking card right there. It's also got really efficient bounce, draw. I mean, blue-red, you're going to get that nostalgic, tempo controlling, aggressive if you want to be. It could be a fun deck. And you got a Phoenix at uncommon that is going to be a pain to deal with, as well as this little goblin guy that just won't go away no matter what you do. So I think blue-red also has some potential to be a lot of fun. So in conclusion, my thoughts for this, I just like to go in there with the mindset of what am I trying to accomplish as soon as I get my packs opened and sorted. I'm looking for some bombs. I'll start flashing up some uncommons here that I think are just super strong to keep an eye out for. But you got to make sure that you just figure out your colors as quickly as possible. Whatever you use to determine that, by all means, just do what works for you, but try and make that decision as quickly as possible. There's also some advanced tactics that could happen, especially with like how do you play around sagas and how do you make sure that you protect the legendary creature if you have legendary sorceries. There's definitely more to keep track of than just can I play creatures. I hope you have a great time. I hope your pre-release goes well. I hope you pull the most epic of foils, and I'll be sure to make a video just to recap how our pre-release experience went. I'm excited for this pre-release, and man, the art in this set is so good. I'm going to be impressed if I can even stop to make a deck because of how good the art in this set is. Really, you know what I mean? Look at those spoilers. Pretty phenomenal. I appreciate y'all watching. Pretty stoked we're over 50 subscribers now. Just keep on keeping on. Here's to an awesome pre-release. Here's to an awesome set. Here's to Wizards making just solid game decisions from here on out. We'll see you in the next video. Peace. Let's check out what we got working with. I think Wizards is now a prominent tribe. Now, why is Wizards a prominent tribe in a set made by Wizards of the Coast? It seems a little self-aggrandizing, don't you think? No, I'm kidding. Sagas are also important because they're considered historic. Sagas are also important because they're considered historic. And last but not least, sagas are also important because they are considered historic, which is a new feature